Hello Year 3. Today we're going to have a look at measuring in grams and kilograms. So moving on to a new topic. And we're going to work on mass this whole week. So mass is when we weigh things in grams, kilograms and other units like that. So if you have a look at the presentation, it will take you through, if you've got some scales at home, looking at what a gram is and what a kilogram is. Okay, so a gram is about the weight of a paperclip. We can also write it for short like this, with just a G like that. That's a gram. Okay, so if you see a G on a scales, like on these, look, there's a G there. Sometimes you find it in the middle. This one's got ounces and grams, so it's written it there. That means it's in grams. Okay. And there's another one that we often see on scales as well, and that one is kilograms, kg. Okay, and a kilogram, so 1 kilogram, just one of them, is the same, is equal to 1,000 grams. Okay, so picture one of the thousands blocks, 10 hundredths. Okay, that is 1 kilogram. In comparison with 1 gram. Okay, so this isn't a gram, but if that was 1 gram, 10 hundredths of those, 1,000 of those would be the same as a kilogram. Okay, so if you have got scales at home, have a go at measuring out a gram and a kilogram. This one unfortunately doesn't have kilograms, so I can't show you here. But it's about 1 gram is about the same as a paperclip, and a kilogram is about the same as a really big dictionary. So if you picture a dictionary at school, about 3 of those, if you held 3 of those together, that would be a kilogram. If you've got a bag of sugar at home that's full, that is about a kilogram. Or maybe you could have a look next time you go to the supermarket. Okay, but ask an adult first before you just pick up bags of sugar. Okay, so first thing to do is have a look at those. So if something is heavier, we weigh it in kilograms. People often weigh themselves in kilograms. Okay, sometimes they use a unit called stones, but sometimes they use a unit called kilograms. Okay, so they might weigh themselves in kilograms. If you go to the vet, you've got a dog, you go to the vet and they weigh them, they might weigh them in kilograms. Okay, so heavier things are weighed in kilograms. Smaller things, so most baking recipes will be in grams. So it might say you need 250 grams of flour, 250 grams of butter, etc. Okay, so which is why scales we have at school are in grams, because we tend to use these for baking. So that's the first thing to look at today. So do spend a bit of time looking at what is a gram, what is a kilogram, what might you measure in both of those. So once we've got that down, we need to learn to read scales. Now, if you go through the PowerPoint, I've got pictures of some scales in grams and some in kilograms. So you need to watch out for which unit they're in. At school, I've only got one with grams, so I'm only going to show you how to do a scale with grams. But it is exactly the same to do it with kilograms. It's just in kg instead of G. So let's have a look at that. So if I'm looking at this, and it changes when I pick it up, so let's move that arrow. Where that arrow points, as I'm sure you remember from baking, is how much it is weighing. So if it's pointing at 0, it's at 0, I'm just trying to calibrate it at the moment, 0. If it's pointing, remember the top numbers, the bottom, this set here on the inside are ounces, so 50, it says 50 here, don't know if you can see it, 50, so now it's 50 grams, okay, because it's pointing at the 50. There's not a G next to it, but it said G at the start, so that's still 50 grams. Dropping things everywhere today. So, sometimes though, especially if we look at this one, you'll notice it's not got all the numbers. It's got 50, but there's no numbers between 0 and 50. It's just got these little lines instead. So if it's pointing to between those, like it would be, where have I put all my objects? I'm not sure where I put them. Oh, they're here. So, for example, if I put, it's really not calibrated anymore. If I put one of these on, it goes in between. So we need to be able to tell how much it weighs. So if I wanted to know how much this weighed, the mass of this object, it's in between 0 and 50. So I need to be able to work out what those little lines are telling me. So we'll start off with a simpler one. Okay, that's got lots of little lines. We'll start off with an easier one, like this one. So this one is measuring this joule, and it is doing this, look, in kilograms. Okay, so this is a big joule, weighs a lot. And it's got one line in between each of the numbers. So going to look 0, 16 now. So there's a gap of 16 in between each of the numbers they give me. So this bit here would be 16, another jump of 16, another jump up to there of 16, and another jump to there of 16, and so on as it goes around. It's a really bad 16. There we are. So that's great, but the arrow is pointing to that line there. It doesn't have a number on. But if that's a jump of 16, there are 2 equal-sized gaps in between each jump of 16. So I can find half of 16. So, half of 16. There are 2 equal-sized gaps. 2 groups, denominator of 2. 2 groups, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Half of 16 is 8. There is 8 in one of my groups. Could also do it as 16 split into 2 equal groups. 16 divided by 2. We all know the answer is 8. Okay? So you can do it either way, either of those ways. So I now know that each of these jumps is 8. So to there is 8, 8, 16. Now all we have to do is count. So we could count in 8s all the way around, or I could just go, okay, 48 is the number before the arrow. I need 8 more than 48. Okay? So if you're counting 8s, 48, 56, or you could just count on your fingers to work it out. So I know that is 56 because 48 add 8 is 56. That arrow is pointing at 56. The joule weighs 56 kilograms, unit of kilograms, kg. Okay, so that's how we can look at those gaps. You need to work out what one gap is. Best to start from 0 for that, and then you can work your way round to wherever the arrow is. If you start at the number before the arrow, it gives you then have less adding on to do, or multiplying. But knowing your times tables does help, because then you can just count in 8s rather than having to add it all up. So, let's have another look at these scales, because you don't normally have ones at home that go up in groups of 8. Doesn't normally happen. They normally go up in groups like this one. So we're just going to take that off a moment and just have a look at this scale. So in between, just going to ignore that arrow for now. In between each of these numbers, we need to count the number of lines. And if you can see, there's a longer line in between each half. Okay, so I can tell that there are 10 lines. So let's just count them carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 lines. So I've got 10 gaps, 10 equal size gaps, 0 to 50. So my 50 has been split, because it's the first number, 0 to 50, 50 take away 0 is 0. 50 add 0 is 0. 50. Only works if you start at 0. 10 gaps to get to 50. 50 split into 10 groups. 10 times table. 5. Okay. You can draw a picture for that if you want to check. Okay. 50 divided by 10 is 5. 50 split into 10 equal groups, you would get 5 in each group. Okay? 5 times 10 is 50. 10 times 5 is 50. 50 divided by 10 is 5. So each little step is 5. Okay? 5, and it's in grams. So each step is 5 grams. Okay? And I'm going to leave that there to remind us. So, what I want you to do is if you go through the presentation at this point and you have a look and have a go at the questions, and at the end there's a part where if you have scales of your own, you can weigh some of those items at home or some items of your choice at home and work out how much they weigh. Please don't do it if you have electronic scales, so it's scales that you need a battery for, okay, that just tell you the weight. Because we're practicing using scales, okay, like these, and we can't practice it with the electronic ones. I have electronic ones at home. They're great for baking and cooking, but for this maths lesson we need some scales like these, okay. So if you have scales like these at home, great, use them. If you don't, then I'm going to do some examples here for you, and I want you to work out what they weigh. So I'll pop an object in, you can have a look at home and work out what they weigh. You might want to pause the video because I will be moving on, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is try and set it up at this table, okay? So I'm going to move that there. It doesn't really work at an angle, but we'll go with it. And then I need to calibrate this to 0. Are we at 0? Yeah, there we go. So there is 0. Okay, are we ready? First thing we're going to weigh is this trophy. Okay, so let's find out what the weight of the trophy is. So pause the video, see if you can work that one out. Okay. Right. Check we're back at 0. Yep. Next one we're going to weigh is this musical instrument. There we go. Pause the video. Have a look at that one. Okay. Next one is we're going to weigh the timer. Find out the mass of the timer. So pause the video. Have a look. What is the weight of the timer? Okay. Next, we're going to have a look at this. Okay, let's see that one. There we go. Pause the video. Work out the weight, the mass of this object here. Okay, weight we find out in space where there's no gravity. So, have a look at this large dice. Okay, pause the video, have a go. What's the mass of that one? And then we're going to have a look at this book, which we read shortly before we left, Attack of the Slime. If you remember, it was slime going through the school. Okay, there we go. Pause the video, have a go. And now we're going to have a look with some base 10 ones. So, you can see how little difference this makes. 2, 3. So that's 10 ones. What does that weigh? Okay. See if you can work it out. What about, oops, one stick of 10? What is the mass of the stick of 10? Okay, I hope you can read the scale from where you are. So, once you've had a go at those, I will see if I can put the answers up on the presentation. Okay, I'll see if I can do that. I want you to have a look at which one has the greatest mass, which one had the greatest number on the scale, and which one had the lowest mass. Okay, have a go, and you can always get in touch with me if you get stuck.